Welcome to another edition of the Michigan Conservative Roundtable. Mac on my right, TJ on my left, and I'm Kim. What I want to talk to you today about is my concerns about our elderly that are in lockdown due to coronavirus. Currently, we have millions of our elderly that are in assisted living, senior housing, and nursing homes that are having no contact with their family members or home health care nurses, PT, OT, etc. So, my question is some of these people are being denied health care because if they're being denied their home health care workers, they're being denied treatment for their hypertension, diabetes, and all of these other things. The other thing is in some of these ALFs and some of these senior housing, they are actually put in a room, told they can't come out since the dining rooms are now shut down because those dining rooms are considered restaurants. And they have very little interaction with people. Sometimes they may see 2 or 3 people a day, maybe as hall. Some of them don't have cell phones, so they don't get to talk to their families. I know a lot of families are calling, but they can't talk to these people. It's been going on 2 weeks now. So what are we doing to our elderly? I've had several people who feel like we are going to just let them die because they're above a certain age. We've got to do something for our elderly. We've got to do something much better than what we're doing in this. There are all sorts of things families can do. Go stand outside your loved one's window and let them know that you know they're still there. The elderly can die of a disease called adult failure to thrive, and that's just giving up on life. Wouldn't you feel like maybe you wanted to give up on life if all you did was sit in our room all day, seeing very little people, eating the same food very much every day, watching the same TV stations, watching the media saying, hey, in Italy we're letting 80-year-olds die, we're not treating them? We've got to do something. What do you think?
Well, in Italy they have socialized medicine, and this is the result of that. There's always rationing. There's always, the decision always comes down to what can you contribute, what do you bring to society. That's why we can never have that in this country. We can do better than we have, but we can't go to that extreme. And it's not an either or. We can improve our healthcare system and make sure everyone gets what they need without becoming a communist state. When they promote socialized medicine, that's really where they want to go. They want to control you.
We're bringing up, socialized medicine, and you've heard in our previous videos how socialism is really just a stepping stone toward communism, and regardless, we're speaking about the health issue now, but it encompasses virtually every facet of life. What does it produce for the benefit of the greater society? The group, the needs of the group outweigh the needs of the few or the one.
And who decides who's in the group?
Yeah, who decides is in the group, and in regards to what we were saying, like a person holed up in an elderly home or whatever. They're just going to be a drag on society. Well, that is the point. If it's going to be viewed as just a drag on society, that is kind of the unspoken evil of socialized medicine.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, and some of my concerns is the ventilation isn't anything special in these homes. So if one person gets the disease, it's spread throughout. Very little staffing, very low paid staffing most of the time.
I'm not even convinced the quarantine is effective, because the few that would go into that environment, are they decontaminating properly? We've spoken before of cross-contamination. You meet someone who knows someone who knows someone who went somewhere. And if each person along the way isn't washing their hands or whatever, it's just kind of moves right along.
Well, I think people and the president's encouraged people to do this, to follow the CDC guidelines and kind of stay away from each other. I've been wanting people to stay away from me for quite a while. It had nothing to do with this virus. Just don't tread on me.
But you know, the thing is in these environments before they've had activities. It's a total difference. You walk into these facilities now, and there are some, as a home health nurse, they're allowing me to go into to do wound care and stuff like that. But there are some that are not allowing anyone from the outside to go into. But here's my concern: they're allowing their staff to go in and out. So why?
Yeah, that is my point.
So
That's
why is health care being denied to our elderly? You know, why are they denying nurses to go in and see these people?
Well, my brother's in a facility that's under quarantine right now.
Better check to see if they're allowing nurses to go in, or home health. If it's not a nursing homes have nurses, so they're okay. You know, we don't
Right.
go into those. But like ALFs, senior living properties that are just senior housing.
For our general knowledge, what is an ALF?
An ALF is an assisted living facility, and very often they don't have nurses around the clock. And they may have a nurse that may work between numerous facilities. So, you know, healthcare is sort of being denied in some cases due to this. And I think that's a way overreaction. And I think that's going to add to even more problems for our elderly.
Sure.
So we need to look at our guidelines and question, you know. Like one facility I know I went into, I sort of questioned them because they said, no, we're not letting any home healths in. And I'm like, well, is someone doing this patient's wound care? You know,
Yeah.
Who's doing their wound care? And they were like, oh. And then they said, oh, okay, you can go in. But
Yeah, you're talking about bacterial infections and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
For the wound care.
yeah, you know, so. And
So they die of that instead.
Yeah.
Or, you know,
My
people
point.
with hypertension that we're monitoring because their hypertension's unstable, or diabetes. Those are the things that we go into those facilities for, to make sure that everything is staying in line. We go in and check for signs and symptoms of congestive heart failure.
It almost sounds like you were prioritizing which is worse. Well, the coronavirus, well, it's not as bad as that bacterial infection.
It's a flu.
You know,
And the flu kills tens of thousands of people every year.
Right? But so do the other disease
yeah,
processes.
that is my point.
Yes,
I get
yes,
that, yeah.
yes, and so we're looking at coronavirus to prevent it, but let's not let the other disease processes kill our elderly in the process.
Well, you know, I heard, and we talked about this a little bit on a break. The president was asked, why can't we just test everyone? And he said, well, it's just not practical and it would do no good. Well, if we're going to, you know, I wonder where her concern is for, where's the testing for people to who might have heart disease? Can I just go to the hospital and have them run all kinds of tests to see, you know, might I be developing a blockage of some kind, fix it well before I have a heart attack and die? No one's suggesting that should happen.
At the risk of putting you on the spot, you being in the medical profession, I know of some offices that right off the bat, they're like doing a temperature read. And anything over 100.3 is a possible, and I'll say possible indicator.
Right.
Is that what you're thinking of, or?
Yeah, we actually are calling our patients. If you're running a temp, we don't go into the homes. We're referring them to their physician's office, the ERs, or the urgent cares. One of the things
Well, I think some of the physicians' offices are telling them to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Emergency room.
Well, I'll tell you, we're also finding a problem. A lot of the physicians' offices, believe it or not, are closing.
Yeah. Go to the emergency room.
And yeah, I know we've had some patients that have like hypertension, and they're doing a follow-up on a new med change, and they're calling and canceling their appointments because they don't want patients in there, only emergency type patients. So,
Well, I guess it's better to die of a heart attack than the Wuhan virus.
so the thing is in home health, we are actually seeing more patients because we're being the follow-up in the hands and ears for the doctors. But, you know, the thing is that we need to be looking at other health issues and not forgetting about them while we're concentrating on coronavirus.
Yeah,
I agree.
Anything else?
I concur.
Okay, be safe out there, wash your hands, and watch your six, and do not tread on me.